All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be correcting a widely spread misnomer about Terence Crawford and Sebastian Fundura, as rumors circulate that Terence Crawford is now a unified champion because Sebastian Fundura has been stripped of his WBC title. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, I need for you to consider it a public service announcement and a correction of the record, as many people are disturbed by the fact that they have heard that Terence Crawford had Sebastian Fundura stripped of his WBC title. Now, before I get into the details, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you very much. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it. So since I appreciate it so much, let me correct the record and explain some misinformation that is being promulgated out there in the YouTube world. Terence Crawford, who is my #1 pound for pound fighter in the world, is currently the WBA world champion at 154 pounds. He is also an interim titleist for the WBO belt held by Sebastian Fundura. The word is that Sebastian Fundura is no longer the WBO champion, and that Sebastian Fundura has been stripped of that title, and that title has been given to Terence Crawford. This, my friends, is not true. Where does it come from? It comes from the same place a lot of this stuff comes from. YouTube channels pulling stuff out of their backside and sparking people's interest from and making them believe things that are just flat out not true, but may become true in the near future. Let me explain. No, Terence Crawford is not the WBO champion. No, the WBO did not strip Sebastian Fundura. What may happen, though, is that the WBO may strip, in the future strip, Sebastian Fundura if Sebastian Fundura does something that the WBO doesn't want them to do. And what would that be? Fighting Errol Spence Jr. for the WBC championship. You see, Sebastian Fundura was fighting for the vacant WBC title. And then there was an injury to the opponent for Tim Tszyu. And that opponent was Keith Thurman. So Keith Thurman pulls out of the Tim Tszyu fight. And because it was on the same card, Fundura goes and fights, who's going to be the penultimate fight on that card, then goes to fight in the main event against Tim Tszyu. Sebastian Fundura wins the fight. Note, big scar on the head of bleeding, gushing blood type of scar on the top of Tim Tszyu may have inhibited the fight, may have inhibited Tszyu during the fight, but whatever. Fundura wins the fight. Fundura becomes unified champion. However, before that, the WBO had ordered Tim Tszyu the winner of Tim Tszyu and Keith Thurman to fight Terence Crawford next, as Terence Crawford was the WBO super champion at 147 pounds. So he can immediately move up and demand to fight for the belt at 154, the WBO belt at the weight class above. And that's what he does. Now you got a problem, though, because Errol Spence was already scheduled. The plan was already for Terence Crawford to fight the winner for the WBC title, the vacant WBC title that Fundura was fighting for. So that was already in effect. Now, they still plan on going through with that fight, according to Sebastian Fundura. As a result, he will not be, if he continues to go through with the plan of fighting Errol Spence, he will not fight Terence Crawford. So at that point in time, Terence Crawford may become the WBO champion once Sebastian Fundura decides that he's not going to fight Terence. Now, seeing as Terence Crawford literally just fought 1 week and 1 day ago on August 3rd, clearly, Terence Crawford has not entered into negotiations for a fight yet with Sebastian Fundura. So since Terence Crawford is not available to fight him for at least another 4 months, why would the WBO strip Sebastian Fundura right now? The answer is that they wouldn't, because the answer is that they didn't. So what we really have is a potential for Terence Crawford to be the WBO champion and to be a unified champion. Now, there's even a question, though, of whether or not Terence Crawford would be a unified champion if he gets the WBO because of a guy named Jermell Charlo, who is put in recess as a champion by the WBA. But guess what belt that was for? It was not for the same belt that Terence Crawford has. Terence Crawford has what is called the WBA World Champion, and Jermell Charlo had the WBA Super World Championship. So if Jermell Charlo comes back and fights somebody for the WBA Super Championship, then Terence Crawford will no longer be the champion for the WBA, and he will not be a unified champion, not at least for the purposes of undisputed, because the WBA Super rests above. Let me repeat, the WBA Super rests above the WBA World. And so there we have it. Now, while it's definitely spectacular news, breaking news, that Terence Crawford may get Sebastian Fundura stripped, but it did not happen yet. That is what you call wishful thinking, or telling the future, prognosticating, something other than delivering straight up facts. Because again, the only unified champion at 154 pounds right now is Sebastian Fundura, who is the WBO World Champion and the WBC World Champion. Period. Terence Crawford has one belt at 154, which is the WBA World title. And that, again, if Jermell Charlo comes back for the Super, is a secondary belt, would be a secondary belt. The WBO interim title that Terence Crawford has right now is an interim belt. But it is funny and shows you the influence of certain people in boxing with the sanctioning bodies, that you can unify a real championship with the secondary championship. I think that may be the first time that I've seen that. I doubt it's the first time that it ever happened. Probably just the first time that I've seen it. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comments section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.